Do not move backwards. Because as soon as you let somebody from your old life back into your new one, you start experiencing the same old shit you worked so hard to get away from, and you'll never see it coming because it never comes at you looking like a problem. It comes as a text from an old friend who just wants to catch up. So think about it like this: 6 months, 2 years, 5 years from now, you can be a completely different woman, and getting there usually means you left some people behind along with everything that came attached to them. Then one day, somebody from your past reaches out to you or starts following on social media or apologizes or invites you somewhere. And nostalgia makes reaching back feel harmless. So you start telling yourself, y'all are both older now, that it was a long time ago, that maybe things were different, that you were young, that y'all were family, blah, blah, blah. But you're not reconnecting with one person, you're reconnecting with a whole era of your life. Tap subscribe real quick because this is the one you're going to think about the next time your phone lights up with a name from your past. And nostalgia is not going to replay that whole era for you because it only pulls out the funny memories and the inside jokes and the good times and the familiar places. Then it turns the volume all the way down on the anxiety, the betrayal, the stagnation, the arguments, the jealousy, and how it felt to be around people you couldn't even be yourself with. So, what you end up remembering is how familiar it was instead of how bad it was for you. And that familiarity can feel like safety even when it's the exact situation you were trying to get away from. You can miss somebody and still be completely right about why you left them behind. Because people aren't only attached to themselves, they're attached to the whole timeline you knew them in. And that's how you end up going backward without ever physically going anywhere. You can be living somewhere else with a flourishing career, more money, better friends, and higher standards. And one catch up call puts you back in that old timeline like you never left. Same woman, completely different life, and you're standing in the old one like the past 5 years never happened. Now, a former friend can be more dangerous to revisit than an ex, and that's going to catch you off guard because romantic relationships get all the scrutiny. But somebody who knew you when you held a certain position in that friendship is going to keep relating to you like you still hold it, and she's not even doing it on purpose. It's the only way she knows how to be around you. So you walk back in as the woman you are now, and within 20 minutes, you're explaining yourself again and defending your choices again and feeling that old pull to make yourself smaller so she's comfortable. Not everybody who knew you before you changed has earned access to the woman you became after. And family gets a permanent exemption in this society, which is where a whole lot of the damage happens because you've heard it all before and it's always from the same people who benefit from you staying accessible. That's your family. You only get one. You need to go home. Don't hold grudges. People change, but being related to somebody doesn't mean they belong in your current life. And sometimes going home doesn't feel like going home at all. It feels like stepping right back into the role everybody assigned you when you were 15. And I did that for years. I was going back home to visit family every single year, and every single year it was the same shit. Nobody was doing anything with themselves, and it was the same conversations, the same dysfunction, the same people stuck in the exact spot I left them in. And it was always somebody needing something from me. Can you give me a ride here? Can you drop me off there? It's like, why can't anybody out here seem to maintain a car? And if you don't have a car, why don't you have enough money to catch an Uber or a Lyft? Why is it that when I'm back home visiting, this is basically my vacation, and you're asking me for favors and asking me to foot the bill? Why am I feeling like Aunt Terry from Soul Food out here, where I'm the only one who has their shit together? Bitch, we from the same goddamn environment. Why don't you have your shit together like I have my shit together? And a lot of y'all came from two-parent homes. I grew up with one parent because my father passed from cancer when I was 2 years old. Everybody else got two parents and is still broke as fuck with nothing to show for it. That doesn't make sense to me. But I kept going because that's what you're supposed to do. What I didn't understand back then is that I wasn't visiting people, I was visiting a whole ecosystem. And that ecosystem was still running on the same rules it always did. They hadn't changed just because time passed. I had changed enough to finally see what that place was doing to me. And it isn't only people you can outgrow because it's old neighborhoods and old hangouts and old workplaces and old social circles and entire cities and even opportunities you used to want. You can outgrow a whole ecosystem. So going back isn't always you humbling yourself. Sometimes it's you reintroducing yourself to conditions you worked extremely hard to get out of. Now, I'm from Richmond and San Pablo, California. And if you know that area, then you know it is not peaches and cream out there. And because it's like that out there, I got flack growing up for sounding too proper because to them that meant I didn't belong. So people tried me constantly, and I'm not built to be rough. That's not my natural temperament. But you have to adjust to survive out there. So I was completely out of alignment with myself just to exist in my own environment. And you won't know how much you changed until you're back around somebody who needs you to be the old you. I've watched that pattern play out at every stage of my life, and I can spot it now before it gets going. And it doesn't matter what level I'm at because there's always been a woman coming at me sideways. High school, I expected that. Early college, I expected that too. But hitting my late 20s and my 30s and still dealing with pettiness and one sided beef from grown women is what made me realize what was going on. It has nothing to do with me, and it has everything to do with me at the same time because I'm not doing anything to these women. I'm a walking mirror and I reflect back the things people don't want to see about themselves or the things they wish they had. And I'm not doing that on purpose because I'm really just out here trying to catch a vibe with people and have a real friendship. And I need you to understand how deep this can go because I've seen jealous women exhibit lifetime movie levels of insanity. I have a story time coming in my next video about the incessant need women have to control other women. So make sure you're subscribed for that one. But after what I've dealt with from women, where I thought we were building genuine sisterhood, is the reason I move the way I do now. So when I tell you to be careful about who you let back in, I'm not being dramatic. I'm telling you what it costs me. And nostalgia will make you ignore information you already have because you evaluating somebody based on who they used to be to you instead of who they are right now. You remember them at their best, you imagine who they could be by now, and you give them credit for growth you never witnessed. So you fill in the blanks yourself. So ask yourself, what's changed? And I mean, what have you seen with your own eyes? Are they moving different? Or did their situation change? Or do they just want a favor? Or are you sitting here nostalgic? Now, there's a difference between speaking to somebody and letting them back in because you can say hello and catch up for 20 minutes and keep it moving. Maybe you did love them. Maybe they were important to you at one point. I'm not asking you to rewrite history, but I'm telling you the history is over. You can forgive somebody and still not want them back in your life. Forgiveness does not mean here's your key back to my house. Hello doesn't have to turn into some, welcome back, come back in. So, how do you know if you're about to move backward? Run through a few questions before you open that door. First of all, are you even missing them? Or are you missing who you were back when you knew them? Then ask yourself the harder one. If you met this person today, right now, knowing everything you know, would you even pick them? And be honest, would they make the cut? And then ask whether they fit the life you have now or whether they only make sense in the one you already left. Because what it's going to cost you to open that door back up is going to be more than just money. I'm talking about your peace, your focus, your confidence, and everything you've been building. If you're hesitating on any of those, you already know. So if you outgrew those people and that place, quit going back to look at it. Go somewhere you've never been. Meet people who have no idea who you used to be. Get around folks where the way you carry yourself is normal instead of always being the odd one out because you got your act together. So when somebody from an old timeline comes back around, enjoy a little moment, say hello, be cordial, and then say your goodbyes and get back to where you're prospering. Because some people were right for who you used to be, and some places were necessary for your personal growth. But none of that means they get to be part of what happens next. You're in a timeline with more abundance and more elevation in it. And the clearest sign you already changed is that the familiar doesn't feel like home anymore. You won't elevate by spinning the block. Have you ever gone back to a place or a person you outgrew and felt yourself slipping into who you used to be? And what was the first sign that told you you'd made a mistake? Tell me about it down below. Share this, like it, and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Take care.